Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about factoring trinomials. These notes are available to you in your Google Classroom. So if you would like to follow along with your own notes and leave any sections of things for yourself, you may do so. The first thing I want to talk about is just a quick reminder that standard form of a trinomial looks something like this. When you are looking at the standard form of a trinomial, you have ax squared plus bx plus c. Your a is your first leading coefficient, the b the coefficient on just the x, and your c is that constant at the end. When we are factoring, like we've been doing, you're taking a trinomial and you want to factor it into two binomials. So what I did here is I have a trinomial for us that we can factor. That is 2x squared plus 8x plus 6. That is what I want to try and break into pieces. So we are going to try and factor that trinomial into two binomials. The first thing that you need to do in order to do that, step one essentially, is to identify what A, B, and C are. We talked earlier about standard form, that it's ax squared plus bx plus c, and they are color coordinated for you. So we have to talk about what A, B, and C are. Your A is your first number here, your first coefficient in front of the x squared is going to be 2. Your B is the coefficient to the x, or the coefficient to your middle term, is going to be 8. And your c is the constant, it's the last piece you see, is going to be 6. Those are your A, your B, and your C. Step 2, the second thing you need to do, we now know what A, B, and C are. We need to find the product of A and C. We need to multiply together A and C. So we know that A is 2 and C is 6. So if I multiply those two things together, AC, or the product of A and C, is 12. For step 3, this is the part that's going to start sounding familiar to the method we used prior. You need to find two numbers that when you multiply them together, you get AC, or in this case 12. And when you add them together, you get B, which is 8. So we need to multiply them together and get AC. We need to add them together or combine them and get B. To do this, the easiest way is to list the factors of whatever AC is. So in this case, we're listing the factors of AC, which are the factors of 12. The factors of 12 being 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So out of these, we now need to discuss which ones, when you add them together, give you the number here, which ones, when you add them together, make B or make 8. The two that when you add them together that make B or make 8 are 2 and 6. 2 plus 6 will give you the 8, and 2 times 6 will give you the 12 that we need. This piece here is where things start to get a little bit different than what you have seen thus far. We have a number in the front here. There's a 2 here, so we can't just stick terms in parentheses and call it a day. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our B and we're going to split it into our two new factors that we just discovered in step 3. So we just said the two things that make up 8 were 2 and 6. So what I want to do is break the 8 up into the 2 and the 6 that we took from step 3. So remember, back in step 3, we looked at the factors of AC. We said that numbers that multiplied to 12 and added to 8 were 2 and 6. So we took the 8 that we started with and we broke it into 2 and 6. We just split the term into the two new factors. And from there, we do something that we are pretty familiar with, you guys have done in the past. We have factored by grouping before. If you do need a friendly reminder on how to factor this by grouping, let's do it. So when we factor it by grouping, we get what you see here in gray in this middle step is what the first thing you will see when you factor by grouping. You get 2x, and then x plus 1 plus 6 times quantity x plus 1. Remember, we want the pieces in parentheses. We want these to be the same binomial, which they are. And then we combine the outside binomials, so we ended up with 2x plus 6 and x plus 1. And that's it. We factored it. We took our original trinomial of 2x squared plus 8x plus 6, and we put it into factored form. We put it into a place where we have two binomials working together to make a factored form. So now what we can do, I want to do two quick examples with you. I want to do one more that has that number in the front like you just saw. And then we can do one that goes back a step to our pieces that did not have a number in the front. They did not have an A term. A was 1. So that you can see it will work on the ones we've been doing just as well as it works on the other ones. So what we're going to do, we need to figure out, first thing we're going to do is identify what our A, our B, and our C are. So A, B, and C. My A is the term in front of the x squared, so that is 3. My B is the term in front of the x, is the 11, and my C is the constant at the end, is 6. The second thing, going back to step 2, that I need to find is what is A times C. So A, C, or A times C. When I multiply 3 times 6 together, I get 18. And that puts together those first two steps of what we did. Kind of moving off to the side of your paper, you need to find the factors of 18. Because we want numbers that when you multiply them together are going to make 18 or AC, and when you add them together are going to make B or make 11. So, what are some of the factors of 18? We can do 1 times 18. We could do 2 times 9. We could do 3 times 6. Well, the good news is we can stop right here at 2 times 9, because 2 times 9 is going to add together to make 11. The next thing we want to do is take our original middle term and split it into our two new factors. From there, we can factor by grouping and come out with our final factored form of this trinomial. We can also do this with ones similar to what we were working on that do not have a value other than 1 in front of the A. And with some movie magic, you'll find out just what I mean. And when you put it all together, you get x plus 6, x plus 4, and have a factored form. And now we are masters at factoring trinomials.